Hi, and welcome to the Diamond Report for Sunday, April 2nd, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. I've got us looking at Earthquake 3D, the last 48 hours worth of earthquakes worldwide. Right now we're focused in on the United States because today there was a 3.0 magnitude quake that happened in southeastern Ohio, kind of on the border between Ohio and West Virginia, roughly. The reason for that earthquake is that the pressure transfers from the west coast to the east coast. So we've had quite a bit of activity out here along the west coast, and that pressure is transferred along the edge, the interior edge of the North American craton, which extends from the northwestern United States through the Rockies down into central Texas and on up through about where the boot heel of Missouri is, and then bends back down around through Alabama and then on up the eastern seaboard. So that is right along the edge of the North American craton. That's why we saw movement there today. Also, if you've watched the Diamond Report recently, you may remember I mentioned that we'll see movement in a few other places, and in fact we have. One of those places was between Ecuador and Peru, and that is right where the earthquake happened in the last few hours. Magnitude 5.1 hit kind of on the border between Ecuador and Peru. And I also mentioned central Chile. A 5.3 magnitude quake has happened there as well within the last day or two. I mentioned that in yesterday's Diamond Report. And then the other one that I mentioned that would happen was central Japan. And as we scroll around here to Japan, you can see we've had quite a bit of activity recently there. And there is the central Japan quake that I mentioned. It's movement that we expected to see over the based on the movement around the pressure around the ring of fire here between central Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, and Papua New Guinea. So that movement happened exactly as expected. And there's another quake we'll need to watch. There's a magnitude 4.6 quake, a deep one, that happened near Fiji. And with these deep quakes, we usually see larger, shallower movement. So in the coming days, we'll need to watch the silent zones for larger than 4.6 quakes. So anything a magnitude or two above that. So we could go 5.6 to 6.6 theoretically in a silent zone. And that's what we'll need to watch for. Right now we have a few silent zones. We have one here in Papua New Guinea. We have one over here. And let's see, southern Japan now as well. And I'm sure there's others around. But I just wanted to show you that quick little earthquake update, and we'll move on to the headlines. An InfoWars special report, U.S. police and military involved in pedophile roundups exclusively speak out. Mainstream media is silent on ongoing raids against child sex rings. And from the Daily Mail, Google blood money. Web giant cashes in on vile 7-minute video showing knife expert penetrating a stab vest like the one worn by the murdered Westminster PC. Dem. I've never heard a president called a liar as much as Trump. Trump continues to go down a road where nobody is going to believe him. That's on the Hill. Paul Joseph Watson. Censored by YouTube, the truth about modern art. This video is age restricted by YouTube to prevent it going viral. New security measures for Disney's Magic Kingdom starts Monday. Metal detectors and bag checks. That's from the Sun Sentinel. From the AP, with Trump approval, Pentagon expands warfighting authority. And more from the Religion of Peace. Graphic photos, Islamic State throws Iraqi man accused of homosexuality from rooftop. German police accused of covering up what they knew about the Christmas market killer, from Breitbart. In developing, Ecuador election could determine fate of Assange. Assange is holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. That's from Sky News. Senate panel to vote on Supreme Court nominee Gorsuch will set the stage for a showdown. That's on USA Today. The New York Post, media admits Obama was terrible for economic growth. Moscow and Beijing to bypass U.S. dollar in global markets. From Zero Hedge. Matt Drudge warns Trump surrounded by traitors and in crisis. Airports and nuclear power stations on terror alert as government officials warn of credible cyber threat. It's on the Telegraph. They're talking about Britain. Jean-Claude Juncker and EU Eurotrash. This week, Eurotrash blackguard, globalist, and EU Commission President Juncker decided to personally threaten Trump and the U.S. That's on USDefenseWatch.com. Steve Quayle and Pastor David Langford, War Against Christians. This is on the Hagman and Hagman Report. The landscape of the battlefield has been altered, and the war has intensified across the earth and continues to accelerate and intensify with each headline in every passing hour. Critic warns Shack author openly promoting universal salvation. He declares that sin does not separate anyone from God. Steve says the attack on his historic biblical teaching from Heresy House, the Shack, is an in-your-face attack on Jesus. 10 face child sex ring exploitation claims after Banbury raids. Steve says note the 10's ethnicity and names. It's on BBC.com. 254 dead after monster mudslide and flooding devastate Mocoa, Colombia at night. Colombia's deadliest landslide, the 1985 Armero disaster, left more than 20,000 dead. That's on strangesounds.org. Economic warfare. Is the world marching blindly into World War III? Steve says, not blindly, but knowingly, being pushed into global nuclear war by the background entities who seek to wipe out the useless eaters. Yes, that's us. Police, military involved in U.S. Pedophile Roundup speak out. I mentioned this earlier on InfoWars. Craig Sawyer, Navy SEAL and Marine, speaks out against pedophile ring and what's really taking place behind the scenes. Murder rate for these white farmers is 20 times the international average. South African minority facing genocide incited by government. Steve says calling all intercessors and prayer warriors to come against the spirit of murder and genocide in South Africa. That's from WND.com. I've been to South Africa, and it's unbelievable what's happening there. More dangerous than the NSA? The massive spy agency you haven't heard of. That's from Zero Hedge. Calling Josh Peck. Physicists say portals are linking our reality to a dark sector. It's on Skywatch TV. Pope Francis is playing with fire, hellfire. Like Perón, Pope Francis plays with both left-wing and right-wing factions. That's on LifeSiteNews.com. Scientists discover portal into parallel universe. Will it reveal God's hiding place? That's on BreakingIsraelNews.com. Must read 16 years ago flashback. Why the future doesn't need us. Bill Joy. Our most powerful 21st century technologies, robotics, genetic engineering, and nanotech, are threatening to make humans an endangered species. That's on Wired.com. NASA's new Mars drone to scout for human habitation sites. That's on RT.com. Again, more Mars stories. Mosques spying for Turkish intelligence in German prompt raids and government probe. That's on PJmedia.com. From Natural News, America has collapsed into a pharma state run by government-protected drug cartels. The evidence is all around you. How the drug cartels control Congress, universities, medical schools, science journals, and of course the entire fake news media. The Zika virus vaccine will genetically re-engineer your DNA. That's on Natural News as well. From Greg Hunter at USAWatchdog.com, money riots coming in next financial collapse with James Rickards. They'll burn down the banks, they will smash the windows, but what is the reaction to that? The answer is martial law, militarized police, actual military units. The dominoes are beginning to fall. Another swamp monster drained as former State Department employee is arrested. It's on All News Pipeline. Russia's preparing the U.S. invasion from the North Pole. Not only did Obama commit treason with regard to the Russian occupation of the North Pole, which went completely unchallenged, in the giveaway of 7 islands. It's from Dave Hodges in the Common Sense Show. This is serious. Bill Warner's speech on Islam proves why Barack Obama was the worst president ever. That's a YouTube video. Dr. Warner has been a guest of ours on Lost Arts Radio many times, and if you get a chance, check out our archives at lostartsradio.com to hear those interviews on Islam. Oops, the sickening truth slips out on CNN. Now we know why they continue to push the Russian boogeyman theme. Would they push it to nuclear annihilation? That's on All News Pipeline. President Trump, do you have a red line when it comes to North Korea? That's on PRI.org. From the Daily Mail, ready to blow, incredible pictures capture U.S. and South Korean Marines training in a show of strength to the north. From naturalnews.com, the corrupt vaccine industry has the means and motive to stage a massive false flag outbreak to demand nationwide vaccine mandates. Donald Trump says U.S. will act alone on North Korea if China fails to help the president. If China is not going to solve North Korea, we will, Trump says. U.S. internet providers pledge to not sell customer data after controversial rule change. That's from RT. Sonic Shield. Unique device renders Russian Navy invisible to torpedoes. It's from Sputnik News. China registers 6 new cases of H7N9 bird flu. From Natural News, when society collapses, you are far more likely to be killed by disease than by human violence. JFK's diary reveals stunning admission, no complete evidence that Hitler's body was found. That's on the Free Thought Project. Yeah, if you watch the series on the History Channel, the Hunting Hitler, that I think proved that Hitler was not killed in the bunker in April of 1945. Londonistan. 423 new mosques and 500 closed churches. That's on Breitbart. Super SEALs, promising signs from Navy Spec Ops, brain-stimulating technologies. That's on Zero Hedge. Here's a big, you think? Does the Washington establishment seek war with Russia? Trump made Ivanka an assistant. JFK made his brother Bobby Attorney General. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Moderate Islamic cleric on live TV says Muslims have the right to kill anyone who does not respect Islam. That's from freedomoutpost.com. Okay, that's all for today's Diamond Report. Thanks again for listening and watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.